Westbrook recently received the honor of reward school status. I was wondering if we can still apply for this $150,000 grant, even though the board has decided to close the school.
Actually, if you were to go to the state ed website, anytime the state posts a grant or request for proposal, they always post a frequently asked questions page, and the only question that was posted was mine. And it was asking that exact question back in June. Unfortunately, we cannot. Right.
So it's like $300,000.
Well, actually, there were 250 schools throughout the state, about 60 or 70 on the island, that were designated reward schools. They were, you had an opportunity to apply for those grants, which would be awarded over 2 years. Only 5 schools were going to be the recipient of those grants, and a good portion of those schools were city schools. So I don't know, even looking at the criteria, that we would necessarily have been successful in that opportunity. Certainly, it's always a shot. We take the shot where we can, but we're not eligible to apply.
That's unfortunate. Also, why didn't we as a district go public with that information? It seemed like all the other districts were, posting it publicly, giving kudos where kudos belonged, and I feel like we kind of shuffled it underneath the carpet.
Well, it wasn't a matter of being shuffled underneath the carpet. I mean, Westbrook closed. I think it was terrific that it was considered a reward school. There were a number of criteria that were considered. Their performance index, which is the number of children that scored at level 3 or 4. Over the course of the last 2 years, the performance of the students in some of the cohorts, students with disabilities, were relevant to the general population students. However, I think Westbrook, based on their testing history over the last couple of years, I think that they were awarded that reward based on the progress that they had made. I think we all know that Westbrook had been a little bit of passing testing.
It wasn't on closing of the gap, though, they didn't receive it. They received it on actual,
No, they received it on, no, actually, it was on high performance.
yeah, it was high performance, not
However,
closing the
there
gap.
were 5 criteria, which I'm explaining, that went into high performance. And high performance did not necessarily mean the number of students that achieved at a high level. That was one of the 5 criteria. Others included, as Ms. McDowell just pointed out, maybe some of the gap closing piece of it. That was one of the criteria. Again, how the cohorts performed relative to the general population, and the growth that the district, that the building did make. And the building had a large opportunity for growth. So when we analyzed the data, we believe that that is why Westbrook was designated. Because they had been making progress over the last 2 years, and they're moving more into the median of where the district is.
I just thought, as a district, we would have congratulated those children on their performance. And I thought that would have been nice, and I didn't see that, but I saw it posted for other districts. The other thing I just wanted, like many other people have said tonight, I was very surprised with the board's decision to give administration raises. I'm not saying at all that they don't work hard, but the board did paint a dismal picture of where we stood financially last year. We closed 2 schools, we cut a lot of programs, we raised lunch prices. So I was very shocked that we gave out raises. I do understand we gave added responsibility, but I just in the future ask you to be fiscally considerate with our tax dollars. And I do realize that there was a savings there also, but with those savings, sometimes when you cut out, for example, the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, he was a specialist at that I'm not, and I don't know everybody's background, but I'm not quite sure that everybody has that background, those degrees, and when we don't have that, we, with all the human resource laws, just don't want to leave us open to lawsuits, which the taxpayers will ultimately pay for. So there's always a balance and there's always a payoff, but I'm just asking in the future for us to be financially responsible. The other thing I wanted to mention, I'm also, sound like a broken record, very happy with the way that the Oakwood principal, the staff, the PTA handled the transition thus far. given the unideal situation that they were given. So I just wanted to say that, kudos should go out to that staff there as well. And that could have been much worse had it not been for the professionals in that building. Thank you.
Valerie Rivera.
Hi. I just want to say first that I had three kids going to 3 different schools this year. So it was a big change in my house, and I just want to say that it was good. I want to commend you on the fact that we had you picked your head up, Mrs. Simon. It was good. It was.
Just taking the notes.
Everything is good. We were fine. High school, middle school, elementary school, everything good.
The reason it's good is sitting in the back, the principals who
Awesome.
make those schools really work.
Yeah. Here's my questions for you. One, I'm trying to make sure that I get to all the meetings this year. If you can, like when you do your building and ground meeting, if you could do me a favor, because I wait for my husband to get home and I run as fast as I can you start it on time and don't start it 15 minutes early? Because I would like to hear what Mr. Bossi says. Because I'd like to hear that. So that's my one request, if you can write that down, Mr. Simon. Awesome, thank you. I have 3 questions for you, and I went to the source first before I would have to come here and make my heart shake. But they didn't really give me a good enough answer, so I'd like to know if you guys can give me an answer. Last year you guys implemented the Got Math program. I'm thinking Got Milk. Go Math. I want to know if you could tell me, when were the teachers trained on that?
The teachers received, depending on the grade level, anywhere from 2 to 3 days of training last year, directly with Go Math. They also received a training, I think it was 2 days with Go Math. They also received a training in the Common Core with a specialist who's working to align those Common Core standards with the Go Math program. The next training is scheduled for K-5, the teachers don't know yet, but they'll find out tomorrow. Starting the week of September 24th. There'll be another training presented by a specialist that's trained by the state in the implementation of the Common Core in math, but she's working on the Go Math program with teachers.
I just felt like a lot of the students and the kids were so lost last year. And when I went to open house night, which I love my school, I love my teacher, I'm not saying who it was, she's awesome. But she did say she was trained in June, which seems to me kind of silly. She said they were trained in June. It made sense because my kids had no idea what they were doing last year.
You know what, I have to look into that because I don't know what happened before.
So he was in second last year, so this teacher teaches third, so, but I was concerned.
Yeah, but there's training K-5 starting the 24th. There's a day dedicated to each grade, and that will be continuous throughout the year.
Okay. Another thing. The school lunch. I went to food services, I went to your cafeteria ladies, I went to your people who serve between the little schools, the middle schools, the high schools. So my problem is that I went to your meeting last year and you guys said that you would not increase the price. I stood there and I listened to you, Catherine was right next to me. You guys said you wouldn't increase the price because less children were purchasing lunch. But this year, again, you made another increase, which cost me $450 because the high school kid refuses to bring mom's lunch. So, wait, this is my gripe. You want to charge 50 cents, it's not going to kill me. Here's my gripe. My 3rd grader and my 9th grader are getting the same exact lunch as per your servers. So why is that happening?
I don't know the answer to your actual question, okay? Except that I will tell you that my son buys double